A place that is spoken about only in whispers. A dark area that spawns the beginnings of urban legends. A place where anything can happen and usually does. During the light of day, it hides just outside of view. But when the sun goes down, spirits, creatures of the night, roam free, and things do go bump in the night. It is in every state and every country, and there is no escaping it, no matter how safe you feel behind your locked doors and latched windows. So we invite you to turn down the lights and turn up your radio while we join Dave Schrader and Tim Dennis, your hosts, on a journey into the darkness on the edge of town.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday night edition of Darkness on the Edge of Town Paranormal Radio Show. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. This evening, though, I am not joined by our regular co-host and producer, Tim Dennis. This morning, we received unfortunate news that Tim's stepfather passed away yesterday or over the night. We're sorry to announce that. So Tim is not here with us. Tim, our thoughts and prayers are with you and your family. We hope that you're able to get through this trying time right now. And we're going to do just a quick moment of silence for Leroy William Johnson, Tim's stepdad. All right, welcome back to the Darkness on the Edge of Town Paranormal Radio Show. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. Each week you can find the best in paranormal talk radio. We talk about ghosts, UFOs, Bigfoot, the Bermuda Triangle, and beyond. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight. We've got some cool stuff coming on. Of course, we've got in studio Susan Cummins is joining us, our book critic. We also have Bree Sanders, our national news correspondent, our in-house. I know usually you get them on Sunday night, but they were in town live for our Halloween party, so I had them come in. Adrian's on a flight right now. Our international correspondent is on his way back to London after being part of the Halloween party at the Palmer House last night. And Nicole Remini will be on with us tomorrow night to review the movie The Strangers, and that's a frightening new movie that's out on DVD. She'll be talking to us about The Strangers. This evening we'll get into our national news correspondent and book critic here in a minute. I do want to make a couple of quick announcements. Third hour tonight from 11 to midnight Central Time. We're going to be taking your calls. We'd like you to be a part of the show this evening. And call us with your personal ghost stories. Real experiences that you've had with ghosts. If you've had a story growing up, things that are still occurring, you just give us a call. We're going to bring that up in the third hour tonight's show. And we're going to be taking out, we're going to also be handing out copies of Dead Space Downfall, the movie. It's a must-have feature that bridges the narrative between the ongoing Image comic series and the highly anticipated Electronic Arts video game. It completes one of the more ambitious and disturbing multimedia story arcs in recent horror history. The whole deal behind it is an ancient religious artifact has been recovered by a deep space mining ship, and for the crew of the USG Ishimura, life just became a living hell. Unearthed on a faraway planet during a mining operation, the relic is worshipped by some, even seen as proof of God. But when it's removed from its resting place and brought on the ship, the artifact unleashes a long-dormant alien race, one bent on ripping apart and taking over every human aboard. Their screams can be heard in space, but only the slashers are listening. This is an amazing movie. We've got it. We're going to also have a trivia contest. We're going to be doing this at the top of the third hour. I'm going to give you 10 trivia questions. The first person to call in and correctly identify the answer to all 10 questions is going to win a really cool prize pack. Not only will you get a copy of Dead Space Downfall, which is the movie, the grand prize winner that can get me the first answers to all 10 of those questions is going to receive the Blu-ray copy of Dead Space Downfall and Dead Space from EA Games for PS3. So that's going to be out. We'll be mailing those out to you next week. And stay tuned because we're going to go over it. Now, I'll tell you what, I'm going to sneak a couple of quick questions into you. So this way you got a little something to start whetting your appetite. You'll see where we're going to go with this. But we got some horror movie and fun trivia questions in this. We have 10 questions that we're going to have you be a part of. Something like here's one. Name the three main actors in the classic horror movie Burnt Offerings. That's going to be one of the questions in tonight's contest, and that'll be taking place again in the third hour. Beginning of the third hour, I'll go over all 10 questions. If you win, and you can be the first to respond correctly with all 10 answers, we're going to give you a copy again of Dead Space, the movie, on Blu-ray, and also a copy of Dead Space for EA Games on the PS3. So stay tuned. It's going to be a lot of fun. Second hour, though, we're going to be joined on the air by author Stephen LaChance, who's going to talk about his new book, The Uninvited. It's a frightening tale. It's a follow-up of his haunting that he had to deal with. When he thought he was clear, he finds out that the family that took over the house that he lived in is now dealing with it, and Stephen returns to deal with the evil that was left in the home. So it's going to be a great second hour of the show with us as well. I want to thank you all for joining us, and thank everybody for coming out to the Halloween party with us at the Palmer House this weekend. We had a great time meeting so many fun people, just having a great time at the party overall, and doing some live ghost hunting. Actually, in the third hour, we're going to have Susan's in studio. She got a couple of EVPs we're going to play tonight for you as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it's time for our book critic.
It's time to welcome our book critic and cunning linguist of culture, refinement, and stories that will make your skin crawl. Live from the tower we keep her locked in, Susan Cummins.
Well, Susan, good evening. Welcome to Minnesota. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Did you have a good time at the Halloween party last night?
I had so much fun, and I'm still brain dead. I'm so tired, but I'm doing great.
Yeah, we had a great time. You were out there as Ann Boleyn. I'm going to be posting some pictures up at the Darkness Radio website. I'll shoot those over in the morning to our webmaster and mistress, Delia and Mike. We'll see if we can get those pictures up on the board. You can see all the really cool costumes. We had a great costume contest last night, too. That was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Oh, it was great. There were so many great costumes. I liked the scratching post with the cat on the back. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool. We had Amy Winehouse was there.
Oh, yeah.
We had a mermaid Barbie. Very good costume.
Miniature mermaid Barbie.
I think she was
in
Minnow,
a box.
Right? Minnow was her name on that box. Really a fun time had by all. So thanks again for everybody joining us. All right, Susan. So I threw you a book this time, a little bit out of the ordinary.
Yes, you did.
Right? And now let's talk about this. This book is called
Interview with an Exorcist.
Right. Now, let me ask you, when I give you this book, what was your expectations for this book?
I immediately thought these are going to be some great stories about an exorcist, giving me highlights of some of his best cases.
Highlights. How sad is that? Here's the highlights and scores from this year's best in possession and diabolical infestation. Yeah, so, but the book is nothing like that, is it?
No, and I do know the difference between a possession and an infestation now.
Go ahead. We'll hit us up.
No.
Let's see, now that you're so intelligent.
No.
Okay.
Well, what I found is it's broken up into many parts.
Okay.
It's an educational book about demons, the different types of demons, how to know if somebody is possessed. It was Catholicism 101 for me. I tell you, I am so now just educated. I guess that's the only way that I can really point.
Well, now you don't come from a Roman Catholic background.
No, I really don't.
So a lot of this doesn't, it doesn't necessarily jive with your views on religion.
No.
And so if people, let me ask you that, if people are picking up this book and they're not Roman Catholic, will they feel an effect from this book? Do you feel that you have to be Roman Catholic to be able to really get into this book, or do you feel that it could be? I don't know what the question is I'm looking for here. Can it be? Is it? I'm guessing because and people get a kick out of this when we talk about the paranormal. People want to talk about demons, but they never want to acknowledge God. They want to acknowledge the religious aspect, but how can we deal with demons and exorcism and not refer to God and religion behind what's going on? But this book is a theological book, right?
Yes.
Talks about everything from a Roman Catholic perspective. Mm-hmm. Does this book give people, we have a lot of goofballs out there now that want to become demonologists because it looks cool and tough.
Yeah.
And you got shows like Paranormal State where you've got a young, good-looking kid that's out there kind of fighting the good fight.
Yeah.
Does this book glamorize demonology in any way or exorcism and possessions?
No, and I think anyone who has any type of belief system will get this book. You don't necessarily have to be a Catholic. However, it does get into Catholicism. And after reading the book, honestly, I would think it would be one of the tougher professions to go into. I don't think that it's easy in any way, shape, or form. But I like the knowledge that was behind it, that the information, the different types of demons, things that I didn't know. Now, coming from a background that isn't religious, I just believe that a demon is an evil spirit, a nasty spirit. But there are many levels. There's a hierarchy in the demon world that I had no clue about. Different types of demons. There are mute demons. Didn't know there was such a thing. But they talk about the different types of possession, the different types of demons, having several demons in you at once. But they also make it very clear that the demons cannot possess the soul, only the body. So it was a great educational process. And again, just because I'm not Catholic doesn't mean you won't walk away with information that will be useful if you're interested in this type of thing.
All right. Now, is this overall, though, was this book frightening or disturbing to you in the sense of, as you read this and it's talking about all the stuff, did it start to affect you at all in your belief system with demons? I mean, does it start to, I don't know. I would just think reading a book about exorcisms and starting to learn the hierarchy and how this all works, does it start to get into your head? Would you recommend this book for, the general populace that are looking to educate themselves a little bit more about this, or do you think you should really be in a solid place in your own faith before you pick up a book like this?
No, actually, I think a lot of people take demonic possession lightly. I think they take evil spirits lightly when they're getting into paranormal investigations. So I think it's good from the educational side of things that, you really should take this seriously, that there are bad things out there. I think it's good to have people brought to the table of knowledge that you got to protect yourself. I mean, I find myself, and we all have to have a belief system. I'm asking my angels to protect me when I'm running up against evil or bad ghosts, and they're out there. Experienced it at the Palmer House this weekend. So I think it's good that people understand that it really is evil, and it does happen, and it's nothing to take lightly. So from an educational standpoint, it's great. However, being not really too religious, it was hard for me to sort of wrap my brain around some of the religious aspects of the book.
And again, so if people are picking this up thinking they're going to get a great read about some really cool possession cases,
I did.
This is more of an educational handbook or a guidebook, would you say?
It is an educational handbook, and I'm telling you, it went through the 101 of everything you need to know about demons, why they basically were cast out of heaven. I mean, it was amazing. I actually know more than probably anybody in this room about demons right now.
I don't know.
And I'm looking at you, and I'm looking at Bree.
I got 6 kids. I don't know if you know more about demons than I do.
We'll have a quiz later.
Okay, good. Now, let's say out of the 5 stars that we normally ask you to give, what would you give this book? I guess as scare factor, let's break it into 2 factors. Scare factor, what would you give this book?
I don't take it as being really scary.
Okay.
It wasn't one of those, ooh, I want to turn on the lights when I go to bed tonight. From an educational standpoint, I would say, it really is a 5-star book from the point of religious possession and where the basis and the roots of possession and demons come from. Scare factor, I would say it was probably a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
But from an educational standpoint, it really was great. I mean, gave me a lot of information.
Well, you're going to stick around with us and be here for the 3rd hour. Tell some ghost stories, right? We're going to be talking in the 3rd hour, folks. We're going to be talking about real ghost stories, and we invite you to be a part of it and call in with us and be a part of that show. You can call us in the 3rd hour. Or if you want to email in your stories, we'll read them on the air. And we're going to take our first break. We're going to be back with national news correspondent Bree Sanders. You're listening to the best in paranormal talk radio. Good evening. Welcome back to Darkness on the Edge of Town Paranormal Radio Show. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. Got a great show for you this evening. We're going to be talking to Stephen LaChance in the 10 o'clock hour, and Stephen's going to be talking to us about his book, The Uninvited, talking about a very malevolent spirit that he had to deal with in his own life, and that he also went back to help the next family that took over his prior residence and try to give him some answers there. It's that time, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, national news.
Now it's time for all the news that's in the news from the world of the paranormal with the supernatural stories of the strange, national news correspondent and mistress of misery, Bree Sanders.
Good evening, Bree. Welcome to Darkness on the Edge of Town in studio. This is exciting stuff, huh?
It is.
You can't just hide.
Nicer.
You can't hide in your bedroom underneath the blankets like Adrian does and just read this from the luxury of your couch.
Right. And
You're
I can
part
hear
of
you.
it. Yeah.
I can hear you.
Oh, you can actually hear me? So this means when I throw jokes at you, you might laugh? All right, good. All right, Bree. Well, welcome. Thanks a lot for being a party. Did you have fun at the party last night, too?
I had a blast.
That was an awesome costume. Tell everybody what you were dressed as.
Well, they might see me at the Stanley.
That's all right.
I was dressed as the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland.
Very cool. It was a beautiful costume.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Susan's costume was insane.
Everybody really did a good job coming out with our. What we have, Tim was Howard Stern. Mm-hmm. You were the Queen of Hearts. We had Susan was Anne Boleyn. Our good friend Kim was her handmaiden servant. She's in there going, screw you. I'm nobody's servant. Ben was a kitten, right, Ben? Intern Ben was our kitten. Who else? We had Adrian was Han Solo. That was Adrian, a cute costume, wasn't it? Adrian was in there. And then we had Nicole, of course, was kind of a punk rock goth girl. She was looking awesome in her costume. We'll have those pictures up on our website. Let's get into some paranormal news here, Bree. Where are we going to go off to first?
Okay. I actually have a quick sausage story. It's not paranormal, but we have to put the sausage stories on here.
This is a follow-up to about a month back when a guy was beaten with sausage and then rubbed down with spices.
And then Adrian
in a breakout. Yeah,
sausage.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, well, this one's not quite as violent, but
okay.
It does include a crime and a sausage. U.S. Customs inspectors in Texas became suspicious this week when a woman declared several soiled baby diapers when she was crossing the border from Mexico. They obviously were suspicious of the strange diapers, and they found several links of spicy sausage or chorizo inside. The diapers had been folded and looked soiled, according to witnesses, and the woman was fined $300, and her sausage was seized.
So you can... Boy, I wish I could get my sausage seized. So let me get this straight. You can have... There's something like illegal sausage?
Well, she was bringing it across the border.
What are they stuffing it with? Cocaine? How do you... That's insane. All right, where are we off to next?
Okay. This actually... I have a story that a lot of people may have heard this a few months back, but I have an addition to this story, so I'll just kind of recap it. A few months back, there was a woman in Kansas who stayed in her boyfriend's bathroom for 2 years, and she had to have a toilet seat surgically removed from her body. She had actually grown attached to the toilet seat. Now
I've grown attached to my recliner and my remote control. But she actually grew around her toilet seat?
She grew around her toilet seat.
Wait, in her boyfriend's home?
In her boyfriend's home.
At what point do you think the boyfriend should have said, I think we need to see other people?
Well, I don't know what happened. He said that she just kind of started spending more and more time in there, and then she wouldn't come out.
Her butt grew on the seat.
Her butt grew on the seat. I don't know why she was sitting on the toilet the entire time she was in there, but 2 years. I mean, when he finally called the fire department, they almost arrested him for, I think it was negligence or something. But, I mean, he took care of her. You know, he fed her, took her water, and tried to get her to come out every day, and she just wouldn't do it. So, anyway.
Maybe he should have tried to, entice her with some smuggled sausage.
Sausage. I'm telling you, sausage. Well, as an addendum to that story, the woman's boyfriend, who I think his name is Corey McFadden, he recently won the Kansas State Lottery, and it was for the second time this year. So what are the odds? I mean...
Lucky in lottery, unlucky in love is what it sounds like the odds are. Oh, my God, that's horrifying.
It's hilarious.
All right, let me mention, too, real quick, guys, we have a trivia contest that we're going to do at the top of the third hour, and we're going to read off 10 questions at the top of the third hour, so stay tuned. At 11 o'clock, I'm going to give 10 questions. The first caller to call in and identify all 10 questions correctly, we'll put them on here, then you reread the answers to me. If you can get them all correct, we're going to give you a copy of Dead Space Downfall, the movie, which is a brand new, really cool horror movie that bridges the gap to the brand new Dead Space Downfall PS3 video game by EA. So you're going to want to be a part of that. But I'll tell you what, let's throw out a quick question right now. I do have a couple copies of Dead Space Downfall, the DVD movie. If you've not won anything in the last 30 days and you want to get this copy of the movie, it's an awesome anime-looking horror flick. Give us a call right now. Here's a quick trivia question. You have to answer this correctly. First two people, Ben, that call up and answer this question correctly, you give them a copy of this, okay? Here's the question. You can call in at 651-989-5855. In the classic TV series The Munsters, give me the name of the pet dragon that lived underneath the staircase. First two callers that call in and identify that correctly are going to get a copy of Dead Space Downfall, the DVD, which is a great new horror anime movie that bridges the gap between that and the new video game. All right, Bree, where are we off to next with news?
We're going to Long Island, New York. Now, we've talked about this a few times over the last 2 months, but there's another sighting of what people think is a mountain lion. This is happening all over the place. I don't know if it's just some mass hysteria or something. I don't know. It's so strange.
I wonder if this mountain lion's getting really good frequent flyer miles.
Well, they're calling this one the Bayview Beast. Last week, a very large cat was spotted strolling across a residential lawn and into the woods. The animal was spotted around 9 o'clock by a neighbor who reported it to the police, and he described the cat as 5 to 6 feet long, not including the tail, and said that it resembled a mountain lion. The local police believe that it's probably somebody's pet that gets out, every once in a while, which is probably the case in these other states too. But and I guess investigators for the Environmental Conservation Department have searched and through the area pretty well, and they haven't seen any signs of mountain lions.
Maybe it's Bigfoot's pet, and that's how he's able to hide him so well. Do you think? Good grief. All right, we got another quick short one before we go to break here?
We do. There was another UFO sighting this week in Texas. 2 Austin, Texas men believe that they saw a UFO. They even say that they have videotape to prove it. The 2 men were outside of their apartment when they saw 3 bright lights, a red light and 2 white lights that flew in a zigzag pattern across the sky. They said that the lights flew on top of each other and then rotated to fly side by side. Actually, one of the men believed that they changed their flight pattern after he waved at them. So, and I guess they've had experts examine the tape, and they say that it's really unlikely that it's a meteor or an airplane or helicopter. So,
wow, very cool. And that took place in Texas. They've had a lot of sightings this year.
Tons.
Interesting. Well, we're going to be back with more news. You guys stay tuned. You're listening to Darkness Radio right here on your home of Paranormal Talk Radio every Saturday and Sunday night, 9 to midnight. Good evening. Welcome back to Darkness Radio. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. Hey, do me a favor. Stop by and take a look at our website, darknessradio.com. Check out all the cool features that we have there. If you have books that you'd like to have reviewed, or you think there's a great book that slipped underneath the radar, you can contact Susan by going to the website at darknessradio.com. Click on book reviews, and you'll find Susan's lovely picture there. There's also a place to submit the book review that you'd like her to check out. And if you have news stories, national news stories going on, or something that maybe your group has done and you'd like to have it reported on, you can go to the news desk and click on it and then talk to Bree Sanders there. You'll be able to type in a news story. Speaking of news stories on the site, if you do go right now, as a matter of fact, if you're listening online, go to darknessradio.com, click on the news desk, and look by Bree's picture. There is a video that we've embedded there. And we actually, a friend of ours from KDWB broke this video down. This is an actual, the full-length video appears on foxnews.com, and it's an interesting deal. It was part of a news story, right, from October 14th, Bree?
Right.
And it was just a news story about the little girl, Kaylee Anthony, that went missing. And during this Fox News story, there's kind of an interesting bit. I'm not going to say it's a ghost. It's inconclusive, but it's definitely interesting video footage. And we've posted the picture, the little video link up next to Bree's photograph on darknessradio.com at the news desk. If you click it and watch behind Kaylee Anthony's grandfather, something appears to walk into frame. It's very white and washed out. We've got experts like Lloyd Auerbach taking a look at it, Bill Murphy, Chris Fleming, quite a few people weighing in on this, Patrick Burns, and it's kind of inconclusive at this point. We have put in a call to Fox News. We're going to hopefully get some feedback for you and see if they want to make an official announcement on what it is. Now, we're not in any way saying that it's Kaylee Anthony's spirit. As a matter of fact, everybody that we've talked to sees different things. I see an old woman.
Right.
Bree, what did you see when you saw it?
It looked like an old woman,
right.
Kind of zombie vibe.
Right. Now, some people see what looks like a little girl to them. They think it has long hair. And Susan and a few other people have actually mentioned that they think it looks, not that it is Peter James, but it reminds them of Psychic Peter James. It's very white hair, and it looks like a black, like handlebar type mustache. I think Deb from Reno, why am I blanking out on her last name now? Constantino had called me back, and that's what she thought she was seeing in there as well. But it's an interesting piece of video nonetheless. Go check it out at the news desk. Where are we off to next with our, you know what, let me throw one more trivia question out there. We'll give another couple of copies of this movie away. And just in case you're not familiar, a holy relic has been discovered, and it doesn't lead to heaven. Meet the maker, and you can get the release of the brand new Dead Space Downfall, the must-have feature-length movie prequel to one of the hottest new video games of the year. Get Dead Space Downfall on DVD and Blu-ray, high def today from Anchor Bay Entertainment. We're giving away some copies tonight. Got a couple of fun little trivia questions. At the third hour from 11 to midnight, we're going to have 10 trivia questions. If you can be the first one to call in with all 10 answers correct, you're going to win a copy of the movie on Blu-ray. You're going to also win a copy of the video game for PlayStation 3. Here's another quick little question for you. In the supernatural soap opera Dark Shadows, give me the name of the head vampire characters, of the head vampire's character name. And it's the first two callers that can call in correctly. In the supernatural soap opera Dark Shadows, give me the name of the head vampire's character. All right, Bree, where are we off to next for paranormal, strange, weird, supernatural news?
We are off to Maryland.
Okay.
There has been a recent sighting of what people believe is the Jersey Devil.
Keep going.
Just a few weeks ago, in fact, 3 people in Rising Sun, Maryland, observed the creature fly past their car and land in a field. Also, in January of this year, there was a sighting in Pennsylvania. A farmer in Pennsylvania actually saw the creature in his barn. And neither of these sightings was anywhere near the Pine Barrens area of New Jersey where it supposedly resides.
Okay.
And for those of you who don't know much about the Jersey Devil, I can give you a little bit of background. It's a story that originated back in 1735, and the whole myth was that a woman named Mother Leeds gave birth to 12 children. She was said to be a witch, and she had said that if she had child number 13, it would be the devil himself. People say that the child was born normal, but within minutes it had killed the midwife, grew a horse's head and a forked tail, wings, and hooves. It escaped through the chimney.
I think I dated her in high school.
It escaped through the chimney and went to the Pine Barrens, where it still lives, I guess. The first sighting was back in the early 19th century when a famous man, a naval commander named Stephen Decatur, visited a foundry in the Pine Barrens looking for decent cannonballs. He claimed that he saw...
It's hard to find good, decent cannonballs nowadays. I'm going to go picking some decent cannonballs.
Well, when he was there, he saw a white creature with huge wings flying overhead. He fired a
He fired one of his new, recently found cannonballs at him?
Fired a cannon at it and made a huge hole in its wing, which it appeared to be oblivious to. The next sighting was by Joseph Bonaparte, who is the older brother of Napoleon Bonaparte. And I guess he was really fond of New Jersey and bought an estate near the Pine Barrens after fleeing from France. He claimed to see the devil in 1820. And in the 1840s, the New Jersey Devil was blamed for a bunch of livestock killings. And by 1909, thousands of people had claimed to have seen it. And it was even said to have attacked a trolley car. Schools closed because of it. A fire department claimed to have fought off.
Make sure to tune into KTLK for your local New Jersey Devil school closings. The Anoka County District schools are closed because of a New Jersey Devil sighting.
They were that scared.
Really?
Local businesses wouldn't even open their doors. They were so scared for a while.
Wow.
Descriptions have been, really diverse.
Then our friends at Decon came out with Jersey Devil spray, and everything was fine, right? No?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah. Until now, people are seeing it again. So.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's interesting. Does it still have a hole in its wing?
I don't think so.
No?
No, I don't
It's
know.
healed?
I doubt anyone's seen it that closely. But
very cool. Wow, that's bizarre.
it's interesting, yeah.
Hey, let me mention, do we have our winners already for this question? Yeah, we do have the winners on both of these. Mackenzie Kelly and Catherine Wilson won for the first trivia question for Name the Dragon Underneath the Stairs in the classic TV show The Munsters. Of course, the dragon is known as Spot. And for the supernatural soap opera Dark Shadows, the name of the head vampire's character was Barnabas Collins. And you should have seen the craziness going on in the room behind us, because I forgot to give our phone screener the correct answer. So as we're trying to do it, they're like, wait, what the hell is the name? They're going to end up saying, you guys didn't say it was Barnaby Jones, did you? No? Okay, good job. All right, where are we off to next?
I just have a quick little blip about a jail in Hackensack, New Jersey. The people that work at the jail are reporting that they believe it to be haunted. There are footsteps, moaning, cold spots, and people just describe an all-around creepy feeling. It's reported by prisoners and staff. According to one police officer, there are even smells, which he believes are probably paranormal. But many people believe that the ghost of John Avery, who is a man who was hanged in the jail, still haunts the jail. And I've actually heard about that before, but this came out this week, and there was a video on AOL of them just kind of describing what they see and hear there. So
they've been, but they're actually seeing and hearing the spirit. You know, it's interesting. We just did a little story here at the Minneapolis courthouse. Mm-hmm. There is a ghost of a gentleman that was hung, and he's the only guy that was actually hung at the Minneapolis courthouse. But security guards, lawyers, judges have actually seen and heard this guy as well. And he kind of hangs out in that area. Kind of strange stuff. We're gonna take our last break for this hour and go to it. We'll come back with some more stories. We'll do another little trivia blip for you. So stay tuned. You're listening to Darkness Radio right here on your home for Paranormal Talk Radio every Saturday and Sunday night, 9 to midnight. Good evening. Welcome back to the Darkness on the Edge of Town Paranormal Radio Show. I'm your host, Dave Schrader. We want to send well wishes out to co-host and producer Tim Dennis. He is not with us and will not be with us tonight or tomorrow. Unfortunately, we received bad news. His stepfather passed away either yesterday late or during the night. And our thoughts and prayers are with his family and with Tim as well and his mother. And just know that we're with you, buddy. We love you, and we're thinking about you. We'll say prayers for the comfort for you and your entire family. We're going to get back into news. I have one more trivia question for this hour. First two callers to call in correctly and identify this will win, again, more copies of Dead Space Downfall, which is a really cool movie. It's a must-have feature that bridges the narrative between the ongoing Image comic series and the highly anticipated Electronic Arts video game. It completes one of the more ambitious and disturbing multimedia story arcs in recent horror history, and it's just a fantastic little movie. If you get a chance, to go out and rent this, pick it up. It's well worth your time. A holy relic has been discovered, and it doesn't lead to heaven. Meet your maker with the release of Dead Space Downfall, the must-have feature-length movie prequel to one of the hottest new video games of the year. Dead Space Downfall is on DVD and Blu-ray high def today from Anchor Bay and EA. First one that can answer this question, first two callers that can answer this question correctly is going to win a copy of that movie. Give me the name of the actor that supplies the voice for the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt. You got that answer now? You guys know it in there? All right, they're all good to go. So the first two callers that can tell me the name of the actor who did the voice for the Crypt Keeper on the old Tales from the Crypt will win the copy of the movies. All right, Bree, where are we off to next for national news stories?
There was a story that came out a couple weeks ago that I've kind of been hanging on to, but I wanted to share it because it's kind of interesting. There's a man in Bivalve, Maryland, named Vernon Trotter, who claims that something comes into his house at night and leaves marks on the walls, the floors, the furniture, and even on their clothes. He lives in the house.
I have that too. It's a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old.
He moved into the house in 1996 with his girlfriend. Mm-hmm. The first thing they noticed was that in the mornings there would be these strange piles of dirt outside of the house. They'd pop up in different spots around the house until they completely surrounded the house. Then there would be piles of dirt that had been dumped on his truck. There would also be some kind of foul-smelling liquid in their cars in the mornings. On the outside of the walls and inside walls of the house, these weird oil-like stains appeared. And he and his living girlfriend, I guess, installed motion-activated cameras outside to see what was going on. And they seemed to pick up these weird images that looked like ink blots or cloud formations outside. But Vernon says that the photos taken throughout the house are the most interesting. I guess there's one photo of him while he's sleeping that shows what looks like the top of a human skull by his feet. And the weirdest, I guess, are photos taken of the hardwood floors. They actually show these designs that appear faint, but they're for sure there, I guess, just these shadowy designs. And these same floors have mysterious stains on them and are occasionally wet in the mornings with no logical reason behind it. There's one photo taken outside at night that has what looks like cat's eyes in it, and he claims that whatever it was, I guess where it was standing, it actually killed the grass where it was standing. And on that same night, he says he went outside and saw what he described as an electricity man. It looked like a man with static electricity floating all around him, and it was about 4 feet off of the ground. And interestingly, decades ago in the area, residents saw what looked like a glowing ball of light on the edge of town. They never figured out what it was. But they just kind of threw that in there. It was kind of along the same lines, I guess, as what he claims to see off and on. But one night he and his girlfriend saw another figure shaped like a man, and it was laying down. This kind of freaky image. He thought that it was an intruder. I guess it was laying down on his property, and he shot his shotgun into the air, and it ran off. But it didn't turn around and run. He said it popped up and ran backwards as fast as like a dog. So
as fast as a dog can run backwards?
Don't confuse me. There is an Indian burial ground on the property. He's even found bones while they were doing yard work, I guess, rebuilding some things on their property. So I just thought that was
if there are any Native Americans out there, I would love for you to call me tonight. Call us up and we'll put you on air. I'm just curious, why is it that if we believe that our spirits go on to the next place into the afterlife, wherever we're going to go. Why is it that when we disturb an ancient Indian burial ground that all hell breaks loose? Hasn't the spirit gone on to the next place? And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I would just like to understand from that, because it always seems there's some ancient Indian burial ground being messed with. I just love to know what the spirituality behind that is. If you have an answer, give us a call at 651-989-5855. 651-989-5855 if you have an answer to that question. And we do want to congratulate Bob Weir and Todd Seibolt, who won, they knew the answer, Barnabas Collins from the other trivia question. Did we get our winners in so far for this one? Yes, we have? All right, good deal. We're still working on it. I guess we're taking the questions on that. All right, where are we off to next, Bree? Well,
there was an article out that talked about something that was similar to the thought helmets that we spoke about that the Army's trying to develop.
Mm-hmm.
This was put out by DARPA. It stands for the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. And what they do is they work on ways to give the United States military an edge with things like, just to name a few, robotic pack animals, self-navigating vehicles, and plant-based jet fuel, among a lot of others. But one less well-known is the agency's Cold War investigation on how paranormal phenomena like ESP might be used by the U.S. to get a leg up on the former Soviet Union. And they were also, more importantly, trying to see how the USSR could use it against the United States. But they found, I guess, their conclusion was that the Soviets focused more on the scientific side of paranormal phenomena, and the U.S. tended to explore psychology. So it was a big difference there. But there was a study they did in 1973 that was called Paranormal Phenomena. And the people who wrote the study, they were worried that the Soviets might win the race to use the supernatural to its advantage, much like they compare it to when they launched Sputnik, kind of in the space race.
Oh, right, okay.
According to many sources, the Soviets definitely came closer to harnessing this ability than the U.S. Did. But the Soviet they researched telepathy back from the 1920s when they actually established a program at Leningrad State University. They appeared to have been fascinated with telepathy, which they called biological communication, and they wanted to use that as a way of communicating from submarines that were out at sea back to shore without the use of electronic equipment. So they were way ahead, obviously, in the thinking of that than we were, because
until they started
trying to develop
they
that
couldn't
now.
give up the vodka. And they got just too slickered to actually be able to focus enough for telekinetic communication. How come I'm getting telepathic thoughts, but they're all slurred?
It'd be so crazy, though.
Yes.
I mean, they wanted to do that. They also wanted to train their astronauts to develop and use psychic abilities to foresee and avoid accidents in space. And the last thing they were doing, they were focusing on psychokinesis, which is the use of mental imagery to move objects. And they wanted to use that as a way of disrupting the electrical systems that were associated with ballistic missiles guidance programs. So, I mean, this major stuff, if they could actually were able to figure out how to harness those things, what's anybody else going to do against that? But anyway, the Soviets believed that paranormal phenomena might be the result of the energy that's given off by the metabolic process of living things. This kind of a radiation field, so that emanates from your body.
Almost like an auric field that's coming out. All right,
exactly.
Very cool. Well, Bree, thanks for joining us in studio. You're going to hang around for us in third hour. Come back and tell us a ghost story that you've had happen, right?
Definitely.
Cool. We're going to do that, and we do have winners in the other question. We got to go? All right. We'll get those out in the next hour. Stay tuned. We have author Stephen LaChance with his book, The Uninvited, coming back. You're listening to the best in paranormal talk radio.